say planning commission meeting, and then the date. So you're gonna go 08/09/18.
How's your wife?
Okay.
Getting better. Good. That's wonderful.
And then you're gonna hit Dias camera, submit.
So you both kind of depend on yourselves, right?
Huh?
You both have to depend on
And then you actually need to go on YouTube and make sure it's working.
Okay.
I guess we're switched around. So
Next one.
Huh?
You're
Carl,
there now.
you're the third one in.
Who's here?
Randy now.
One,
Oh, good.
2.
two,
Right
There
there.
you go, Goose.
2.
Yep, you're right there.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah,
Tyson.
I left my binder here.
So I cannot.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, the job sites, $300 to $800.
Wow.
Yep.
Let me put water here.
I'm like freaking out because I'm like.
Oh yeah, but Mountain House, Tracy's kind of filled up. Mountain House is not.
And that's down between
Well, Holster is on 156 going.
Don't have an agenda?
by Gilroy, right?
A program?
Well, Gilroy's north,
Okay.
Monterey's
Southeast.
west.
I got you.
But
It must have
you know where
fallen out
Mountain
of the
House is, right?
binder.
No, but I thought it
If
was. I thought it was in the mountains.
No, no, no,
like,
no.
West of.
Tracy. So Lathrop, and then you hit 205, then
Cecilia, try
Mountain
this out.
House, then over. Start taking out
No, just the speaker. Like press the
that
speaker.
pass.
Okay,
Then
there
head
we
into
go.
Livermore, Tracy Livermore.
Oh,
yeah.
down.
No worries, we're good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
But
Thank you.
I mean, it's crazy. It just I'm inundated.
Do you know if Damon's coming?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I don't know.
He was here. He just had to run out real quick.
Oh, okay.
So there's going to be one more that
Either I
took
sit in my
their
chair and
agenda
do
out.
takeoffs, or I sit in the car and drive. What?
Do you have your agenda in yours,
Yes.
Wyatt?
I have my blue sheet.
Okay.
I believe I do.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What was
There
new?
was-
We had something that wasn't included in this binder. Is that probably this? Or?
Yes, that top one there. That's
Okay.
item number 4.
Okay. What goes along with the very back page?
It was just a report that Gary said he wanted in there.
Okay.
That's some sort of
One more, sorry.
He said he wanted it in there for discussion.
Okay. Well, we had
Negative.
to discuss.
Oh, yours is in yours already. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
This is what we got at the city council meeting.
Yeah, it's in your packet already. There it is.
Oh, so we're going to talk about it then.
Yeah.
No, I'll go take a shower.
Well, yeah, and that Gary was gonna bring up a discussion item with you guys tonight. I'm sure you had it if you didn't.
Did you leave your agenda at the meeting now?
What the? No, we continued it as a planning commission.
Yes.
But what did the city council do? Override this and go ahead and approve it?
They approved the first reading pending the recommendations from.
No, we'll discuss it. Okay. Good.
So we got this. Tyson helped me. We're good. I texted and called like.
And I told Randy that.
And so I know you briefly kind of showed me the that part.
That and then you do PC meeting versus CC meeting, and then you're gonna put in the date.
Okay.
Like
Just
space
in numbers,
date, and then
yeah.
hit OK. You have to hit like on the screen that pops up. You hit Dias camera and then hit OK, and that's what starts
Good. Good.
that. And then I went on here to make sure it was working, which it is. So I'm not touching nothing.
You know,
Have you seen any of this yet?
yeah.
Look at the very back, the very last thing. That's it. So that thing right there. Look at that. Can't we talk about
Cool.
that?
It's working. I always go on and check it to make sure it's working. And then at
Where is this?
about 5 till
What?
There's Applebee's right there.
Yeah.
I'll start recording on this one.
Okay.
And I'll go testing, planning commission meeting, Thursday, August 9, 2018, 7 p.m. And so that's, will get recorded into.
Is that just residential or is that just residential?
On the agenda tonight?
Just bare lots.
That's a distance. I think it's
Services.
Yeah. So they walk in.
I might be within,
The roads are cut. The ground's cut.
myself if I'm within 300 feet.
What does a house sell? What's it sell for out there? Building.
And on
Anywhere
that,
from 5 to 6
all the fork, I own a forklift literally diagonally across the street.
For yourself, I would probably
They're going to Gridley, Calusa, Oroville, and Yuba City.
Yeah, with the distance, it was either 3 or 500 feet.
Makes sense.
Is there 2 different numbers? Because I know it's like 500 feet when you're saying, for instance, if you're gonna sell liquor or alcohol, you have to notify everyone. Then
You know what I'm saying?
well, but
We
if
have
you have the that
two crazy guys that work at the county. One guy was
it's like there's a little bit, well, or it's just a little different because
Now, on the lot line adjustment, on Valley View, I actually have to do it myself. My company, I don't personally have listed, but my company has that property listed. But that's, and for sure dealt with me. And then, yeah,
So
the
they're
other.
driving this way.
I know.
I know, and it's almost, yeah, it's almost ironic.
Why would somebody
Man,
work?
I'll talk to Gary too, because as the crow flies, I might own property really close to the other one, Valley View, the map. The back of that property comes close to that property at 290 Canyon Highlands, they put the permit on. And it's, if you go as the crow flies from the back of that, this corner right here, but here's the one we're putting on the Connors, and I own this
I
one
mean,
right
and
here.
the reason I leave so early
It's like,
is I want to get to Sacramento before, you know what I mean?
yeah.
We probably used to waking up that early with the shop, having the shop too.
Oh, yeah, but, you know, I mean,
It's always better to.
if I leave that early, then I can, once you get past 50,
We've got a nice big highway.
yeah. Well, I mean, everybody either gets off on 80 or 50.
I should know it because I've been doing this for 10 years.
I'll go to.
I know it's 3 years.
What's the address of this daycare facility?
It's like,
There's no address, it's a vacant lot
it's
still.
just crazy. And then when I come home,
It's a vacant land.
because if I don't have to be somewhere, I'll leave my house at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking, okay, let all the commuters go, then I'll go behind.
Is they have to make it time, right?
I go.
Yeah, he had a meeting at the birdcage.
puts me at
Are we
Sacramento
moved
at
around?
9:15.
Where's my name tag?
Right here.
Yeah,
Right here.
we can move you guys around.
They even moved this around? Really? Damn
We're,
chairs.
we're
They
99
run the place.
and 5 going to the airport. It's just, it's.
Well, and I plugged in the voting
Paula
for David
Court,
for you guys.
Oroville, California.
I mean, the only thing I can think of, because Woodland's a federal community, that's only 2 of them, that's is,
Testing.
no,
Oh, so here, this wasn't in that.
well, that's where they're pushing the ag out. Yeah, they're pushing the ag out, so you pull into Woodland, everything's south now. But, I mean, just tons and tons of. Yeah. Well, Davis is a hard, that's a hard sell. Davis is really tough.
Yeah, so what happened? Is there a section there?
Where's Paula Court on this site plan? I don't understand.
You know, we've already, as far as, how they, I know we've already had that discussion, and we're gonna be, after this meeting, we're gonna be more ahead of it. But we got
That's
Jim
north.
here to kind of oversee that too.
Maybe that's north.
Maybe.
Okay, so that's the cul-de-sac there.
You're gonna see the Simon Stowe. Don't know where you're gonna be.
You're in the one next to Carl. Although I think you guys all have to scoot over a little bit. Carl's gonna have to scoot over probably a tad.
Huh?
You're probably gonna have to scoot that way a tad to your mic because she needs that mic.
She uses this
And then
mic?
Justin, no, and then Justin will be on this one, so just the chairs will have to, I don't know.
So I'm gonna use this one?
No, you're using that one, she has that one, and then Justin has this one.
So you're gonna slide down.
No one uses this one.
You gotta scoot over just a hair. Is she?
I still don't get it.
She's using that mic next to you.
She's using this mic?
No, one next, one right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's Justin won't have enough room if she doesn't scoot over a bit, so I was trying to get you guys to scoot a little bit.
That's Justin's.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
I
that's
have
yours
to
right
move
there.
closer
There you go.
to you.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
right there.
This mic is not in use, that's fine.
I promise not to bite.
I do not understand. Site plan orientation.
Double check on the distance.
It's okay to be honest.
I love your attitude, yes.
Remember that property I just pulled the permits for?
I mean, it's not like I'm like,
There's the corner there.
if it's like close to me or
Oh, stop.
I have no financial gain for that. Yeah. I'm not in any, it doesn't affect me whatsoever.
It's all final before this has even conspired.
Right. No, I mean, I had no financial gain to it. The lot line adjustment on Valley View, I have to recuse myself because I don't have it, but my company has that listed for sale. So, I'll recuse myself on that one. And then same with College Court. I have a fourplex on the other side of Nelson. That's from Nelson. So distance-wise, I might be in that distance too. But I don't have any.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's going on, man? I was waiting for you to come join the drug action with us.
Yes, so if you,
This one that I'm handing out right now is from last meeting,
I've got one already.
from last meetings.
Yeah?
Lot line adjustment for the Bud Tracy.
Oh, oh,
That wasn't completed,
yeah.
and we went through, we kind of reviewed it. You guys were asking what was all the other information that typically comes with it.
Got it.
So this is it.
This is the one, where the school is.
Yes, yes, and because we were
I'll
rushing
cuddle
it
up next to
through
you.
because of the sale, and pending the sale, and they didn't have all time I'm providing that information, so we have it. And then we'll discuss it. I'll bring it up afterwards.
We got 4 minutes.
This is from the 7th. Did you stay the other night?
No, I left after
They passed it.
they,
City.
no, the council approved
The zone.
the first reading of the ordinances.
Okay.
And then we'll wait for us to make our recommendation. We approved a 1 month
Mm-hmm.
extension for us to have time to review it.
This is what we need to study. Scooby. How you been? Same?
Damon is coming back, right? Didn't say when, though.
7.
Well, he's got 1 minute.
I believe that. I haven't listened and I don't know. I'm assuming actually. And myself.
There he is.
Called it.
Right on the button.
Why do I want to make sure? You're the one asking questions.
Testing. Planning Commission meeting Thursday, August 9th, 2018, 7 p.m.
I wasn't gonna come to that meeting anyhow.
The joint meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's talking about, just in general.
Oh, well,
You get emails, right?
I get emails, I look at them, I make my own decision.
Just making sure they have a way to contact you, man.
They do, they have my email.
So they added the care facility.
Damon, I forgot to ask, do you guys use,
You got a short chair too?
Yeah, I got this stupid chair.
I know, I do too. I have to sit on my foot. I need to bring a pillow with me.
You look great.
Everybody?
You want to trade wheelchairs? Happy to do that.
At this time, I'll call a meeting of the Oroville City Planning Commission to order. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Brand,
Here.
Commissioner Britton,
Here.
Commissioner Chapman,
Here.
Commissioner Jenkins,
Here.
Commissioner McDevitt, Commissioner Vice Chairperson Durling,
Here.
Chairperson Robinson.
Here. At this time, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. At this time, I'll give instructions to individuals who wish to speak on agenda items. There should be some blue cards there on the corner there. If you wish to speak on an item, please fill out that blue card and hand it in to the clerk.
Can we fill one out, just, we don't know?
Yes, you can
Yeah.
fill out and not talk. Yeah.
Moving on to public comments. This is a time where the public or the Planning Commission opens to the public for anyone who wishes to speak to the Planning Commission on an item that may pertain to the Planning Commission but is not on today's agenda. If you have an item that you wish to speak to the Planning Commission about that is not on tonight's agenda, you may do so now. Seeing none, we'll move on. Next item is correspondence. There is none. Moving on to approval of minutes. We do not have any minutes to approve, so we will move on to public hearings. For public hearings, the procedure will begin as we move into the items. I will introduce the item and ask staff to give a presentation on it. Then if there's an applicant, the applicant will address the commission. After that, I will open the public hearing section, open it up to the public to make their comments. After everyone has had a chance to make their comments, I will close the public hearing and limit discussion between commissioners and staff and any questions that the commission has for the staff at that time. Our first item under public hearings, PW 1805-002 lot line adjustment. Gary?
Good afternoon, or good evening, Commission. Welcome to the second evening of the week. So here we meet again. So this is a lot line adjustment for the Bratton property, and they're doing just a lot line adjustment for, and what the staff has indicated to dedicate the existing 12-foot public utility easement west into the new parcel area and dedicate existing 20-foot setback line along Valley View Drive to the west.
Do we have an applicant here tonight?
Good evening. My name is Michael Evans. I'm here for Gary Broughton, Don Carey, and Jim Delaney, our surveyor. We've read the conditions of approval. If anybody has any questions about what they're trying to do, I'm happy to answer them. We're good with it.
Great. Thank you, Mike.
Chair, I'm going to have to recuse myself on this one. But I believe my company has the property listed for sale.
Okay.
So, yes.
We'll wait for you to leave the room.
Okay.
So if Commissioner,
We'll go now.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Kicking you out, Randy.
Goodbye.
So the 20-foot adjustment in the west side, that is the west side, correct?
Hold on a second, Commissioner Britton. I want to open the public hearing.
Okay.
So this time I'll open the public hearing, and let's see, I didn't have any cards. Let me make sure I didn't have any cards for, doesn't look like I have anyone who put in a card for that item. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item from the public who did not turn in a card? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and limit discussion between commissioners and staff.
Thank you, thank you. The lot line adjustment for the 20-foot, the 12-foot PUE is already determined, correct, Gary?
Yes.
And the 20-foot, that's on the west side? Well, on this lot, it's on the west side. What is that for sidewalks and gutter, or what is that lot line adjustment for?
It's for future utilities. It is an existing, already an existing easement. So we're just having them continue with that dedication.
It's a 20-foot existing easement now?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay.
That's why up in the front, it indicates to maintain the existing easement.
Okay.
Okay, dedicate existing 20-foot setback line along Valley View. So it's just maintaining that easement.
Okay.
Because we're doing a lot line adjustment, we want to make sure that everything stays in play that was there before without, you know, if it's not indicated in here, then it gets eliminated.
Gotcha. No, I understand that. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
On the back page of the resolution, the second whereas, it says, whereas the city of Oroville review the final map and conditions prior to record the final map. There isn't a map being recorded for this, is there?
There hasn't been yet, no.
But this isn't a record to survey. It'll just, the deeds will be recorded and the map may be filed but not recorded.
Yeah. I'll go over that with the city engineer.
Okay, but that doesn't matter being on the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? If there are no other questions or comments, then I will open for a motion.
I set a motion that we accept PW 1805-002. Is that correct?
To accept the lot line adjustment with conditions.
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion, a second. Any questions to the motion? Please open the voting. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, voting is closed.
Motion passes.
Good to see you, Mike. Moving on to item number 2 under public hearings, PW 1807-002, tentative parcel map. Gary?
We'll wait till Commissioner Chapman comes in so he can hear.
Sounds good. Are the speakers not on in that room? Okay.
Okay, this is a tentative parcel map, 143 Valley View for the applicants wish to subdivide their property for giving their children some property and piece of land that they can reside on, and therefore they're separating 0.9 acres out of the lot to create 2 lots. Continuing through, if you can look, and then we indicated to maintain the easement and provide a 30-foot easement down the drive, and the circular, if you look at the plot plan that's there, site plan. That's for fire access and utilities as well. Staff has reviewed and recommends approval.
Chair.
We do have speakers here if you'd like.
Do we have an applicant?
Yes, we do.
The applicant wishes to come forward.
So real quick,
Just a moment.
just I'm at, now I own a property. I don't know if it's with, if I have to recuse. I talked to, mentioned it to Gary already. I have no beneficial, but I may be within 300 feet of this as the crow flies.
If you're within 500 feet, you should probably remove yourself.
500
As
feet.
the crow flies.
As the crow flies, I'm definitely within 500 feet.
Yeah.
So,
Goodbye.
Yeah, even though I don't know financial gain, I do believe if
okay, so this is a gray area. And so, Commissioner, if you wish to recuse yourself, then maybe it might be best so we don't run into any.
historically, if you're within 500 feet,
And you're
The situation is he sold a piece of property that is within the 500 feet. However, that's all gone through escrow and has been through the sale before this has
but I
come
own
up.
it. Yeah, it's mine.
Oh, you
so,
own it.
Yeah. So.
You exit.
He should have written down. Thank you, Randy.
Next time.
We'll wait for Commissioner. Is there are there any other items on the agenda that you have that issue with?
All.
Richard Roper, land surveyor representing the Connors. To date, we haven't received any conditions of approval, so we don't know what they are, if there are any. Nothing was mailed to Connors, or they haven't received it, let's put it that way. I haven't received anything either. So
Okay, well, your conditions of approval are attached here within this. So we'll put it through to the, did you get a copy of the record here?
Okay.
There'll be a package up there.
Well, at this time, so I have a question for you.
okay.
We have a couple options. We can take a recess so you have time to look them over and then come back to it. Just move it further up on the agenda, or if you wish to continue this, to have more time to go over it, we can continue it to our next meeting.
No, we don't want to do that.
Okay, so do you just want to take a recess and look at it? Okay, do I have a,
I'll
Is-
move that we recess for
Okay.
10 minutes.
we have a motion for recess for
Second.
10 minutes?
Got a second?
Where do I find this thing?
There's a motion, a second for recess.
Can you,
I'll second.
who motioned?
Adonna.
I
Can
second.
you please
Seconded.
All right.
identify who motioned and seconded?
I seconded.
Okay.
Commissioner Durling, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Commissioner Durling made the motion.
we have another speaker that would like to comment on it.
My comment first, because it'll eliminate all this.
I'd rather.
You want to withdraw your?
No, because I'd rather have him
Well-
be here to hear the comments that he makes.
Recess will be unnecessary.
Well, why don't we go ahead and let him speak, and then we can take a recess afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
But then
So-
he's not gonna hear his comments and have that input.
But he had to recuse himself.
Who's not going to hear?
Randy?
Yeah, he's gonna be out of the, not,
Commissioner Chapman recused himself from the issue.
so he's not here.
That's
He
right.
can't hear what's going on, which
He-
means he can't hear what this gentleman is going to.
He's recused himself from the item.
He's recused
Commissioner
himself
Chapman
from the
recused
item,
himself.
so that's irrelevant.
I'm talking about the engineer.
No, the engineer's sitting
he's
right
still
there.
He's right there.
Oh, I thought I saw him leave.
Okay, do you
I-
withdraw your motion?
I
for
withdraw the
recess?
motion then.
Okay. Go ahead, and if you wish to come forward and make your comments.
I second.
Dave Quintel, 124 Valley View Drive. I guess first thing is a question. So what is the procedure for notification of this hearing as far as, you said 500 feet? I was under the assumption it was 300. Anything within 300 feet shall be noticed.
When I was talking about the 500 feet, that was regarding commissioners having a financial interest and needing to recuse themselves.
commissioners,
So
okay.
that was.
So what I'm getting at here is I was notified by a property owner across the street from me that there was, this hearing was going on this evening, and I live across the street, and there was no notification of this hearing.
You didn't receive anything in the mail?
Same thing the engineer got.
Okay.
Well, the applicant is the one that's responsible for notification to the property owners.
Of the hearing?
No, not of the
No,
hearing.
Not of the
but
hearing.
the hearing is posted in the paper.
All
is
neighbors within
advertised.
300 feet are to be notified
Right,
by mail.
yep. That's
That
state law.
wasn't done.
Yeah. So then we're going to need to continue this regardless.
I think so.
That would be my suggestion.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So while I'm here, we have the same problem on item number 4. So as I'm reading the agenda, I read down to item 4 and I think, I've got a property that got 200 feet of frontage on that too, and wasn't noticed. So I would
Okay.
strongly encourage you pull item 2 and 4 for this evening until all notifications
Well,
are
I
made
tell you what,
to
I'm going to have a
the neighbors.
conversation with staff about this, and so we're going to go ahead and take that recess
Take
anyway.
the
So,
recess and
thank you.
Mhm.
At this time, you want to,
Motion.
yeah.
I'll make a motion that we recess for 15 minutes or so, as time is needed.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, excuse me, please wait until we've recessed. There's a motion, a second, any questions to the motion? Okay, please open voting. For the recess, 15 minutes. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, voting is closed. We'll recess for 15 minutes.
Motion carries.
Gary? So,
Make sure your mic is off.
thank you.
Do you want to get Mr. Leave him stand out there for 15 minutes?
The one for the break? Talking about the very, talking about the very last one, right? Yeah, that was me. I seconded it.
Oh, is that why?
You guys already voted? No?
No.
Yeah, we voted, you need to leave again.
He'll explain to you what happened.
Okay.
We took a recess because, two of the, on number 2, the applicants, for the, surveyor was notified, and neither were some of the folks that live within
Dave.
Quintel.
I actually sold 135 LA View. Asked them if they were coming to the meeting tonight. They said they weren't notified.
Dave
And
didn't.
we also have a problem on number 4, because Dave owns property there and wasn't notified.
He didn't think
By the
he he thought that he only had to publish it, and that's what he did. He didn't realize he had to notify.
They collect a part of the fee structure is the cost of mailing it, and Louise always took care of that.
Yeah, but these, so probably.
Nobody's well, nobody's been noticed on anything. So I don't know that. Yeah.
Dave's angry.
No, there's nobody. If nobody's been noticed on that, then we have to just continue the meeting until proper noticing.
Correct, and that's what we're gonna.
I don't know that you can vote on anything publicly without it, the proper noticing going out.
Well, I mean, so was the first one? Was anybody notified?
Apparently not. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're. Yeah.
Because we are still on the situation.
Hey, I told you. Thought we were recessed. No, I told you.
Well, we are in recess, but because like we're not held again. Like we can't have the cross nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
Here's the keys to my car, just go home.
Actually, we're just talking about noticing and nothing on this project, but still.
And that needs to be brought up today.
Are you leaving?
No, sir.
Oh.
I can say it toward the end. We just have a report at the end. But I'll have to recuse myself from item 4 too, I think. That's what this last one is. Yeah. No, it just happens in everything.
So how are you this evening?
I am okay. How are you?
Are you still limping?
Yes.
What did you do?
I have a tear in my knee, so I'm gonna be limping for a while.
Get a kneecap, a new kneecap?
They have to go inside and clean some things up, but I don't think I'm quite ready for a new kneecap.
Just that sounds terrible. Go in and.
Yeah.
I'll be open to this discussion. How do you feel?
Yeah, I guess so. You're talking about Damon and the vice chair? Yeah, probably makes sense.
I think we should all hear their discussion, so we know what's up, what's going. Reminds me of the old-fashioned coffee clutch. You got people running off in a corner.
My timer, when we
We're
made the
not
phone call,
privy,
my
huh?
timer went off, so I don't know if we've hit 15 minutes or not. Did anybody object to us coming back from recess early? Okay. You'll reconvene from recess. So we spoke with the city attorney, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that proper notifications for the public hearing goes out. And that means that we're going to have to continue both of those items, both item 2 and 4, to a date certain, which would be our next scheduled meeting, which actually we're going to discuss later, but we can set that up now. And then it's continuation will be posted on the website, and then notices, proper notices will be mailed to the property owners within 300 feet.
Will the conditions of approval be mailed to the client?
They should be.
Yes, we'll get the conditions of approval mailed out to the applicant.
Thank you.
Commissioner Robinson, should we not wait till the next meeting and make it a special meeting? And that's just a suggestion, because now we're holding up progress, right?
So our next scheduled meeting would be the last Thursday of August,
Of August.
which is
2 weeks. I think that would be the
That
soonest.
in 2
That would be the
weeks.
soonest.
I thought that we were gonna go into September and that.
Well,
We had to
Okay.
have the 10-day notice out today by noon in
So-
order for that.
Scott,
Okay.
right, that's what I was just gonna say. Scott informed us that we're continuing the item. We don't need to redo the notice in the
Okay.
newspaper. That's why you just post the continuation on the website, and then we'll mail out the proper notices to the property owners, because that's the part that was lacking.
At what time will you mail those out?
Those notifications should be mailed out. Will you be able to mail them out tomorrow?
no, they won't be able to get mailed out tomorrow. We'll be getting them out Monday.
Monday?
They're closed on Fridays.
That's right. So,
What is it 10 days? Notice?
on the mailing, the notice in the mailing, you might.
No, the 10-day notification is for public notification posted in the paper 10 days before the hearing. But it's already been, and so we'll put things on the website.
The letter, the mail notice to the property owners, I believe it's only a week. You might want to double check with Scott
Yeah,
tomorrow.
because if the meeting is 2 weeks from now, you see what I'm saying?
I do, yeah. So you double check with Scott tomorrow, and I'll follow up with him too, and make sure that there's not a set, like a shorter period of time notice on the mailing to the property owners. But the letter will have the date and time. We're going to pick a date and time now, but regardless, if for some reason it changes or whatever, the letter, when it's mailed to you, will have a date and time of the public hearing in the letter. So, just.
So do you guys feel confident that items 1 and 3 have also been properly noticed? Feel good to make decisions on those also? Just a thought.
I don't know.
Well, the preliminary list of roads and streets for rehabilitation would not require
Publication, no.
would not require the same notification. The lot line adjustment.
I just happened across these at noon today, so.
I recommend we move all of them except for our roads update and the other updates that we're going to go over that don't have any question whether there was notification.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for 2 different motions. The first motion, I'm going to ask for, well, if somebody on the commission is willing to make the motion, I'm going to ask for a motion to be made to,
Should we get Commissioner,
hold on a second. I'm thinking of the wording. To suspend our action that we took on the first item, until we verified that proper notification was given on that item. And if it was not, then we'll need to revisit it. Where'd Gary go? Okay. The next, and then after that, I would ask for a motion to continue the other items to a date certain, which would be the next regular meeting in 2 weeks, I'd suggest. So,
Somebody's gonna have to get a hold of the applicant right away, because they think that it's been approved.
yeah. Yeah, well, I'm gonna take care of the motions first, then staff will direct staff after that.
There you go.
So, do we have somebody willing to make the first motion?
What was the first one?
To suspend our decision we made on the first item until we verified that correct notification was given out. And if correct notification wasn't given out, then we'd have to revisit the item.
I move that we suspend the action taken on the agenda item, is it 2?
1.
Or 1, agenda item 1, the lot line adjustment, I believe it was. Let's suspend that until proper notification is sent out.
Until we verified that.
Or we verify it.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion, a second. Any question as to the motion? Seeing none, please open the voting.
One question.
Oh,
One question is, can they get hold of this applicant by
yeah,
tomorrow?
we're gonna direct them after we make the motion, so.
Okay.
Please open the voting. It's open. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Seeing none, voting is closed. So, Gary, or Jackie, staff needs to contact Mike Evans. And, well, first, number one, verify with Scott Hubert on whether we need the same notification on that item number 1 as we did on the others. And then if we did, then we're gonna have to, and that wasn't sent out, we're gonna have to notify Mike Evans and the applicants that we're gonna have to revisit the item. So, is City Hall closed tomorrow?
Yeah.
So can we do that and verify that tomorrow, please?
yeah, staff can make contact on that.
Okay.
So I'll have contact, or staff make contact to Scott Gibson and get answer to that lot line adjustment. And
Scott Huber?
Yep.
Okay. And then after you verify that, can you contact me and let me know what the status is?
absolutely, I won't be here, so either Jackie or Cecilia will get a hold of you.
All right, thank you. Okay, the next motion I'm going to ask for is continue the remainder of the items with the exception of item number 3, which didn't require the same notification. So to continue items number 2 and number 4 to the date certain of our next regular scheduled meeting, which is August 23rd.
What about 5 is the lot line adjustment?
Can't do that.
5? No. There's no 5. You look on the agenda here. We're talking items 2 and 4.
I'm just looking at this.
Yeah, no, the tabs
Tabs aren't working.
not apropos. Is there such a motion?
I make a motion that we extend PW 1807002 and PL 1807001 till our next meeting, until notifications sent out to property owners that have a stakeholder in
Within 300 feet. Just proper notification to the next meeting, August 23rd.
to the next meeting, August 23rd.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion, a second. Any questions to the motion? Please open the voting.
I can vote on this one.
Motion carries.
Okay, so both of those items will be continued. The only other item we will be discussing tonight under public hearings is preliminary list of roads and streets for rehabilitation. I appreciate the public being here. We apologize for the inconvenience. And thank you for pointing out the oversight on the notification. I apologize for the inconvenience to anyone, and thank you for being here. So we'll be moving on to the only item left under public hearings, preliminary list of roads and streets for rehabilitation 2019. Excuse me, we still have a meeting going on. If you can carry your conversation outside, please. Thank you. You want to introduce the item, Jackie, since Gary's not here?
I have no idea what the item's about.
Gary's step outside?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, for a short recess?
Can you go call him back in, please?
They're not entertaining.
This is the stuff I was trying to avoid.
I know.
I think he wanted to apologize to the Connors.
Well, that's right, yeah. Okay, Gary, you want to introduce the preliminary list of roads and streets for rehabilitation?
Yeah, my apologies, Commission. I guess this is kind of what happens when you don't have a planner, and everything kind of gets dumped on one man's lap. But I'm in an educational process here, and not really enjoying the process. So
Understand.
thank you for understanding my situation and the inconvenience that's been put forth. So this is our preliminary map of the street maps of work that's going to be proposed to be done 2018, 2019.
And for the record, Gary's doing the job of like 5 people right now.
No, I
It's
know
not
that.
full-time positions, so
He's never done this before.
yeah. I mean, I'm grateful he stepped up to the plate, and you know, we'll just have to work.
And we have frustrated people, and I understand their frustrations. You know.
Yeah.
It's more important. It's important to make sure we got protocol. That way, there's no question down the road. You know.
Absolutely.
That's you know.
It's very unfortunate that we've ended up in the situation that you had all this put on you and without any preparation or anything, Gary. And
No warning.
Yeah. And like I say, I'm grateful that you stepped up to the plate.
Yeah.
Period. To do it. So I mean,
the whole situation is very unfortunate.
Okay, so with this, we have the Feather River Boulevard, which is basically from Old Dam Boulevard east to Safford, is one of the streets that we're talking of doing a resurface and overlay on. However, there's going to be, we have discussed putting a hold on the portion from Old Dam Boulevard to Applebee's area, because that area on the corner there is going to be getting developed. When that gets developed, we'll have the road improvement, sidewalk, street light improvements going in that area. So we've kind of taken that off of this, and that's not going to be one of our priorities there. Gateway is also in discussion, so we're not sure where Feather River is going to go at this point in time, because we do have funding for roads, and because this is construction that's going to be going on in development, we would like to take out of the development fees that's going to impact that road and streetway to provide those improvements.
Did I hear something a while back that they needed sewer down Feather River ultimately. New sewer lines. I think I heard that in a meeting a long time ago when they were talking about developing Feather River. I just don't want to see, brand new asphalt go down and then somebody trench right through it for a new sewer line.
Yeah, if that has to be performed or something has to be done there, then the city will see that that's done prior to, but it will be done during the development. So we're in discussion right now, the development of that corner area. And I've reached out to Caltrans to see what they need and what they're wanting for the intersection there on Oral Dam Boulevard and Feather River, because we did collect money, $800,000 for that intersection from the Walmart project. And so there's going to be some more fees collected from the existing old Walmart site on the new pads that are being developed. And they're talking of a possible drive-through going in. So that's going to impact the traffic in a different way. And I sent off an email with everything and notification to Department of Transportation on that. And then obviously when the Feather River corner there goes in, there's going to need to be some widening on that on-ramp going onto the freeway there, and certainly some work being done in that intersection, because I don't know who originally designed that intersection, but coming into that I'm surprised we don't have so many accidents in that area.
Yeah, you gotta get over the left quick.
Yes.
And usually it's gridlock. So.
And absolutely, usually it's gridlock. So something's going to have to be done in that area. And so I've reached out to Department of Transportation, kind of gave them a rough plan of what's going to be there and what needs to be done, so they can go forward with that. Give us the information.
A little bit unrelated to that, but I'm excited that you're saying when instead of if.
Yeah.
Well,
hold on just a second before we get on to too many comments. Technically, this is a public hearing. I want to open the public hearing and close it real fast. So at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak from the public? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Limit discussion between commissioners and staff.
Hey,
Okay, there you go.
Gary, I think what Wyatt was saying, I remember this conversation. It was they were wanting to develop the sewer lines from, I believe, Montgomery, from the gateway, all the way down Feather River. So I understand what you're saying is they're going to develop the Staples area, right? But if you pave that all the way up to Montgomery, then you come back. I'm sure that's what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there won't be no paving done without sewer being done. So the gateway is also in discussion at this point in time now as well. They did throw at us as residential because it was, approved with the commercial. We sold it with the commercial. So they have put in a request for residential. I had indicated that, we'll accept residential, commercial residential, somewhat like a commercial podium down below, residential up above, where you have the, like down in the Bay Area and that, where they have the commercial shopping, commercial podium down below, and then the residential up above, which is kind of a one-stop shop for those that live in the area because they can do everything there. And
like a mixed use recipe.
Absolutely.
I believe that was in the general plan.
Yeah. So that would be the only type of residential we would allow in that area. But that is in discussion. So, that's supposed to be, we're waiting on that to see, and that's why impact fees will be coming. And that's kind of why there's a hold off that I indicated. There'll be a hold off on Feather River Boulevard there, because when these come in, that's when we want to do that. when we take those the fees we get from those impact fees, to do that.
Definitely, it's horrible to see somebody go in and do a project and then somebody else rip it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And with that being said, you know, I've developed a dig once policy, and so I'm having it reviewed. I'm going to get together with the water companies and get that reviewed and going. So the dig once policy is when there's a trench dug, that they throw an extra 2-inch conduit in for future infrastructure for, you know, our fiber optics. And we required that with DWR on the line that they're putting down Oral Dam Boulevard up to the dam. Is we required them to dig once policy, so they put in an extra 2-inch line and pole boxes all the way. County did contact us and said, "How did you do that?" Well, a dig once policy. So the county asked me for a copy of our dig once policy, and I provided them with that. And we're in discussion of possibly everybody in the county getting together and discussing it to get it throughout the county. That's how we're going to build up our infrastructure. I have been doing that since I kind of took over the Public Works Department. So every time a trench is dug up, even though it's a section, I have them throwing an extra 2-inch conduit. And yes, we got dot to dot, but we know how dot to dot is. Eventually it all ties in together. And then when we have to connect the dots, we only have a shorter way to go. But our infrastructure in Oroville certainly needs to be improved, because our internet access that we have in this city is, especially right here at the city hall.
Well, paving deteriorates. If you dig up new paving, that section deteriorates much faster than would be. And who pays the cost for fixing it? The city.
Absolutely.
So I believe in the one dig.
Yeah, absolutely. And so then that's why we're kind of putting that off on Feather River until this development comes in. Then the other is 4th Street to the end of the school. You know, we've got 4th Street there and then go to the end of the school. This is with the funds that we have for our roads. And then we have Nelson Avenue to the end of the school, going for that improvement. And this map isn't colored, so it doesn't really do a lot of justification, because it should have been printed in color. But I can get you a color copy of it.
We have received the color copy of that.
Yeah.
At least I have.
Yeah, I looked at it on a
You should have in your packages, yeah.
But
So it shows
the printed version wasn't, but on the computer we could look at it.
Yeah, so that would have the colored copy that shows where those roads are going. And what this is using our roads funds that we have and that we have collected.
Any other questions or comments on? You're just looking for input from the commission on this. There's no action required. So.
Yeah, just informational pretty much.
Yeah, I had a couple questions. On the 6th Street project, it says Nelson Ave to the end of the school. So is that going to end over by the property line of the Hearthstone School, the Mesa Vista School, or is it going to actually extend past the pool, upright, butting up to the park?
You know, I couldn't answer that question without having the colored copy with me in front of it.
Can you bring one up here?
Oh, my phone's about to die. I pulled it up on my phone, but
I'm just asking a question.
Jackie, are you able to?
Just speaking from this type of project that I've been involved with, not with the city, but it's normally to the end of the jurisdiction. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. the baseball park, is that a city park or is that Parks and Rec? Parks and Rec?
I think that's Feather River Recreation Parks District, right?
Well, I'm just wondering the road that actually, you know, where it actually goes into the park, because I thought the area, you know, the pool is right here and that road right there. I thought that still falls under, you know, the city. That's why I'm curious if it's going to end right there where the school is, or it's actually going to go along the pool line.
She's pulling it up right now.
You want to scroll that map? I'll shoot it over.
Loading.
There's your internet.
Yeah.
At its best. That's why we're getting infrastructure in.
Oh, I think it stopped. Nope, it's going.
We need a little squirrel in the cage.
Be a Comcast commercial.
Yeah.
Say we call for a recess while we wait for it to load.
And you know, the mayor has been pushing for that infrastructure and the dig once policy and to go in. So, unfortunately, we never got it around the new Walmart project. Had it kind of lined out, but it just didn't work out.
Way down, way down.
They sure included a lot of information on that.
The tentative map. Yeah, they did the final map and everything all at once. They're a bit upset right now with me.
Was it tree count required for that?
Tree mitigation, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Even without not being a subdivision, just being a parcel map, huh?
Yeah, we had them do the oak mitigation, tree count, and the replacement.
In the parcel map.
Oh, there it went.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
go the other way.
Back up. Right there
Right
you
there.
go.
All right.
Ah, I see the
Move it to
yellow
the left
now.
a little bit there.
It's right here. But you still can't tell.
Well, you can when you zoom in.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you see the swimming pool?
Nelson Avenue is at the top there.
Yeah.
Can you see the pool?
Yeah,
Over here.
kinda. If you go, yeah, cute. There you go.
Where are you
Close to
trying
the
to
pool.
see?
Right there. Oh yeah, you can see it now. Goes beyond the school and to the pool.
Yep.
That's really just a line drawn.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all we got is lines.
No, that's in stone now.
Yeah.
We're holding them to it.
Yeah.
That little yellow line on that picture.
Up on the left-hand side, right? Is that what you're
Yeah.
looking at?
Yeah, up,
There? Yeah.
right at the top there.
Okay.
And the pool's
Oh,
on
I
the
kinda
right.
can see it on the black and white.
Can you really?
Kinda.
That's
Yeah, I can see it. It's in white instead of black.
the pool.
There you go.
Property line on.
I think it's going up to the pool,
Yeah, I think it goes up to the pool,
but not
staying
past.
along it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to the end of the school.
Starts over here, and all this is road right alongside the parking lot of the pool.
Right.
Right here's the end of Mesa Vista, and the property line between the Firstone School and the pool.
Right.
And that might just be, as far as the street dedication, the rest might be private property too. You know what I'm saying?
They'll go to the end of the city's jurisdiction.
The street itself,
The street dedication, so it might be private property from there on, could be owned by Feather River Park, and the city's not gonna pay to pay private parking, you know. And I believe the city ends right there at that subdivision. That's pretty close to the
Right.
city property.
Right where?
I think you're right about the jurisdiction. That's right about where the city ends at that,
On Nelson.
with the
on
yellow.
Nelson.
Yeah. Well, it goes,
Oh, it goes a little further. It goes to that
Does go further,
subdivision right
yeah.
there.
The bigger subdivision.
Yeah, on the left.
Any other questions or comments?
And then my last question is for these repairs, you guys are estimating, or it's being estimated that the minimum useful life is going to be 10 years, and the max life is 20.
Yes.
And when will there be an idea on the cost of the projects?
Well, the cost of the projects, we'll use the money. We have $1.4 million in our roads funds, and $800,000 of that goes to, or 1.6, $800,000 goes to the intersection there at Oral Dam Boulevard and Feather River. So it must be 1.7, because Chief had said then we have $900,000 to work on the roads and wants to get that rolling. And that's just kind of where this plan goes. But as we get development, we also get more money for the roads and the impacts.
Costs to be determined.
I had a comment kind of for the city engineer, but since he's not here, I'll just comment. I don't know if he's aware that for all overlays and reconstructions that he's required to file corner records for all survey monuments in the road. That's a law that falls onto the project engineer, which might even fall onto the city, you know, in case monuments are destroyed.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike's aware of that.
I check them all in the county, and I didn't receive any for Wyandotte reconstruction.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
send me an email.
I'll send you something.
Yeah. Because we do have stuff going in, and of course, with these road improvements, I rely on the city engineer.
It's a newer law, and it used to be put on surveyors, but now they're putting it on the project engineer, because usually project engineer doesn't care about the survey monuments, so he might not be aware of it.
Yeah, and that's an important aspect too.
This is state law, I guess.
Yeah.
He would know.
Well, yeah. Okay, and then if you go and turn into the next area, just for a topic of discussion, he had asked for me to bring this up before he kind of throws money out for a surveyor to come and look at it and put it together. This is for Charles Hawley. And this is for the sites there on Hewitt, the corner of Hewitt and Park.
Oh, you're saying you're moving on to another topic here?
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second. Are there any other questions on the topic of the preliminary list of roads and streets? There was a Vice Chairman Durling suggested that perhaps we should make a motion to endorse
adopt or endorse.
I don't know how the rest of the commission feels about because there's not an action really required by us. They're just looking for comments. But Commissioner Durling was saying that maybe it might be
at least poll each person.
Staff direction to move forward with the.
Sometimes we just give the staff direction to move forward with the recommended change on Feather River, as far as holding off on that Feather River and moving forward with the other ones. I don't know if we'd look. Sometimes we just. I don't know if we have to approve it since there's no direction.
No, it's not. I don't know if you want to take more of what you were saying there.
I'm just. We've made some significant comments, and for example, regarding the
record of survey markers.
Record of survey markers and so forth. And it's important, I think, for anybody that reviews the record to understand that each of the commissioners understand that what's going on and what's the effect is by adopting this proposed list of street improvements. And to me, you can either poll us or take a motion. The motion would be the more significant, but
well,
I'd be
But
comfortable.
specifically, what motion are you talking about?
Make a motion to adopt the, street improvement list as proposed by staff and recognize the need to ensure that monuments are taken care of in the proper way. If I were to make a motion, that's what I do.
Are you ready to make a motion?
How do the other commissioners feel?
Yeah, that's kind of in law. I don't know, as I said, I'll just
Markers?
link to the law pretty much. I thought I read in something that we were just supposed to recommend to city council.
There-
Does city council ultimately have to approve it?
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's a budget.
And so they're looking for input.
We're recommending.
They're looking for input, and what Carl's saying is, we can do that informally, where we're just kind of giving input, or we could make an official motion of we are concurring sending this on, and along with this other input, and have it as an official motion, or we do it informally, just by consensus of making comments. And I was polling you guys to see what you guys
I'm
felt
open either
with.
way. If one of our commissioners wants it, I'm open to going with Carl's motion. If he wants to make that motion, I'm fine with it.
I'm more comfortable with the motion, doing it by motion.
Are there any other questions or comments on this item? If not, if you want to make a
I
motion.
just did it. Didn't I make the motion?
So that's the motion.
Sorta.
Why don't you give me the formal wording of your motion there, so the staff can get it written down.
Planning Commission recommends approval of staff proposed street, improvements, as listed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions to the motion?
Don't you wanna add the,
Well,
monuments in there?
No, he's right, that's state law.
Okay.
Yeah,
It has
it's
to be
really
done.
not necessary. Any other questions to the motion? Seeing none, open the voting. Does anyone wish to change their vote?
Didn't show up?
Okay, now does anyone wish to change their vote?
Yeah, I'm good.
Seeing none, voting is closed.
Motion passes.
Okay.
I appreciate you. I'm just real leery about things
that's
like
why
that.
we have 7 commissioners.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to, well, there wasn't really
Staff report.
Yeah, this is a staff discussion item. That was what you were talking about here. This is the next item you had for discussion there, Gary.
Yeah, the applicant had come to me and asked me about, and has met me on the site to go over possible lot split or lot line adjustments. And this is on the corner of Park and Hewitt. If you look on the one page, the 1, 2, 16, and 15, which are your parcel numbers, that is the existing, and he wants to change it to the other layout design. And I'm unsure what his reasoning or purpose is, but
Actually, I have an idea.
yeah.
If you would like me to comment real quick. So this gentleman's did a VBRO, did a really nice house on Montgomery Street. Yeah,
VBRO.
vacation rental. I don't know. VRBO maybe, vacation rental, something. So rents it out through.
It's a bread and breakfast.
Yeah, no,
Airbnb.
yeah, like an Airbnb. So, and he's been pretty successful, and I think I've seen that building. It was really nice. He did it. I think he did a nice job on the construction of that one. And he's talking about doing the same thing, similar on each of these lots. And I guess by the layout, the current layout on them is pretty screwball, to say the least. And he wants to make them more just conforming. And if you look at the rest of the houses on that street, a lot of them are either on like no setbacks or very little setback. So he just wants to build 3 nice, narrow, kind of long, skinny houses on there. And I think, me personally, I think it'd be an asset to the neighborhood. Because right now, this
Okay, so this is where, how it's right now.
that's how it is currently. And then he wants to just make them kind of like nice, straight, even,
Sure.
you know,
Oh,
build.
so this is how they are now?
Correct.
And this is what he wants?
Correct. Correct. Yes.
That makes sense.
He wants to make them normal, and they're all cut up right now. So this is how they
Were
currently
you,
are.
were you thinking the screwy one was one you wanted to change it to?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking at first,
Yeah.
too.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
He wants to do standard lots.
It's wider, a 36-foot wide lot.
And he has enough room to do all that?
No, you can see where it says currently
At the top, it
configured,
says currently.
Yeah.
and then
Configuration.
configuration.
I don't
Yeah.
read upside down.
That's all right.
You guys put that out there. What do you
I'm
expect me
learning
flip
to
the
read
Bible
every
around?
whichever direction there is.
So yeah, so he wants to kind of make them nice,
Yeah, standard lots.
standard lots. Yeah, they're going to be narrower than the normal conforming lots, but that's, you know, that's what it is.
This isn't your
only need-
client, is it?
So you only need 5 feet to the lot line, right?
No, standard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's not my client.
Yeah, but there is a minimum width now
Yeah.
of a lot. And so by laying them out this way, they're not gonna meet that minimum width
Yeah.
for a lot.
What is it, 40?
Yeah, I believe it's 60. I'll have to look at it for sure. But but if he left it, they're still not compliant
No.
with today's
Minimum standard.
minimum standards. And he doesn't want to spend all the money to get $5,000 to get them surveyed, and then the $3,000 to bring it in for review here in approval. So that's $8,000 if it isn't going to go forward, if we didn't think that there might be a chance that it could work. And then listening to Randy and staff myself, is it only makes sense to lay them out in a more uniform style and standard that matches that's in the existing neighborhood as it is, so it wouldn't be any change to the neighborhood. It would actually enhance the environment around it.
Substantially, I think. I
Yes.
think he builds a nice product.
But
And
if it doesn't, I'm sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
If it doesn't meet the requirements for a width, then you're screwed in the beginning, correct? If you have a rule that said it has to be 40 feet, whatever it is, right? You have one at 40, that's okay. Then the other 3 won't make it.
Well, they're established lots, so when he'd build, he would have to meet all the setback requirements, because he would still be able to build on them because they're legal lots.
right, well, that's why he's doing the lot line adjustment.
They call them shotgun
He's
houses.
not doing a subdivision.
I
It's
understand that,
different.
but a lot line adjustment, if they have a minimum width for a lot line adjustment,
No, there isn't. I don't believe there's a minimum lit for a lot line adjustment.
There's a minimum
If he's
width
gonna
for
do
a lot.
if he's gonna do a parcel map or a subdivision, I know there's some standards there.
No, there's a minimum width. That doesn't make any difference how you create the parcel. There's a minimum width for the parcel.
Sure.
These are they're gonna be non-conforming, and that's
That definitely be non-conforming.
Unless he, you know, the problem is he wants to get as much money out as possible, but you know, because if he did 3 lots instead of 4.
Exactly.
He said 3 houses. Hey, do 3.
That
did
would be
3 lots, then he
my
could do it.
position would be, you know, if you wanna make this change, then do it in 3 lots.
Yeah.
well, I think he wanted to do 4 houses. I'm sorry if I said 3, but he wants to do 4.
but it won't meet the minimum requirements, so you're out of the gate already.
Well, they currently don't.
I wouldn't approve of variance.
Right, but there's a difference. So there's you know, the fact that they currently don't meet the requirements doesn't like make it okay to then make a change to the lots and
Recreate.
then still not meet the requirements, because then then we're gonna have people coming in and wanting to do all these other lots that don't meet the requirements, and,
Variance.
you know, we had this whole discussion about precedents regarding the sign,
Right.
Correct.
which precedent doesn't necessarily lock you into everything, but precedent is precedent. Now, if we're gonna talk about precedent of a sign, precedent on the lot would be it's gonna be even more impactful.
Yeah.
So I would say, you know, instead of saying yes to will allow you to create new lots that are also substandard,
Do we,
you either you know, because if
How much
you
is
got
that?
lots as they are, they're grandfathered in. You're stuck with it.
90.
But if you're gonna make the change so that it conforms. Do 3 lots, and then you can get the proper sizes out of them.
Well, that's exactly
Yeah.
what I was trying to say, because once you go into a lot line
About
adjustment and
150.
we say, no, there's a
About
minimum
150.
requirement here, and we're gonna say, oh, well, never mind on that,
Three
we'll
lots
accept it. No,
still wouldn't.
Yeah.
I won't do that.
Right.
Okay,
so,
and
3 lots.
I
still
totally
wouldn't
understand.
make
Do you know the minimum width?
3 lots
No,
still
not
wouldn't
right off
make
the
it.
top of your head.
Not right off the top of my head, I'd have to go look
Well,
at it.
if you can find that out and,
Yeah.
you know, when we revisit this, have that information in here.
Yeah, but irrelevant.
Am I
If-
correct that 3 lots won't even make it?
Well, we don't know, because we
know,
don't
because
have
we
the
don't know what the width is.
minimum.
I don't know what the minimum width is for sure in the city.
That's why we'd say if we had the knowledge then we could figure that out.
It's 150.
A lot, a minimum.
I'll
width
get,
on a
I'll
lot.
get that here in a minute.
It's 150 feet.
so I think the question is, could we do this without, can he do a lot line adjustment with these parcels without issuing a variance? So we just do a lot line adjustment, we're not asking for a variance, right, from city code. Can it be done without a variance? So we're not issuing a variance, and if we approve this project, can it be approved without issuing a variance?
How do you do that?
No.
Well, if you're not meeting code, then you have to give a variance from the
That
code.
wouldn't be meeting code.
myself just for a minute, use the restroom.
Yeah, so I'll get the lot width here shortly.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if it's 60 feet, 3 lots
I
still wouldn't
believe
make it.
corner lots need to be 6,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet minimum.
So lot number 1 would be a corner.
Well, let's see, 36. These are all smaller than conforming lots. I think all of them. I think the corner lot needs to be 6,000 square feet, and the rest got to be minimum 5,000 square feet, I believe.
Well, the real question is, in my view, if he builds on what he already has, they're non-conforming lots
Can you do that?
in shape and size.
Well, yeah, because
So he can build on there as long as he
He can
meets the
get a
setback
permit.
requirements.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
correct. So the question is, by giving him a variance to do the 4 lot line adjustment, does the city have a better product than would the city have if he built on the existing parcels? That's the real question facing it, to me.
Well, it's just, Randy, since you were in on this, you kind of know the answer to this, because he said row houses. That's what he called them. And he's talking narrow lots like this. Is this something similar to what that project that you guys were proposing on that piece of property the city now owns behind your house?
No, that was different, but those were skinnier, non-conforming, and that was
And almost no yard.
that was a PUD, so that was a little different project.
Yeah.
Because they were non-conforming. Those lots were non-conforming, so they had to get a PUD overlay on it. Because of that, they were smaller than conforming lots. Now this, I don't know. I mean, so yeah, I think normally, I'd have to double check. It's been a while, but I think corner lots had to be a minimum of 6,000 square feet, and interior lots had to be a minimum of 5,000 square feet, I believe. But then again, this is a lot line adjustment, so you're not creating any more parcels. You're just moving the lot line around. So I don't know if lot line adjustments, you have to be conforming or not on a lot line adjustment.
That's a good
You're-
question.
You're not creating new parcels. You're just doing a lot line
You're
modification.
creating new non-conforming parcels. And that's
Correct.
the question, do you want to do that?
Right.
And in
But
doing
is it a
so-
variance? Is it a variance?
In
That's my
doing so,
question.
you
I don't
set a
know if-
precedent.
if the lot line modification is a variance.
You're not conforming to the lot size requirements, therefore it requires some type of a variance,
Okay.
in my view.
So it's occurring to me we have entirely new staff so that they haven't been around for all the discussions about how much we revile variances.
So the question to me is,
Just so you guys know.
is a variance appropriate here because we're getting a better arrangement and a better look for the community?
To me, if we go down this road, Carl,
I'm just saying, that's
if
the
we go down
question.
this road, then it's crazy.
Yep,
We're really not guaranteed that he'll actually build once that happens.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I have a problem with it.
Well, and I've seen in the past quite
let's
often,
figure
lots of times when people want to do changes like this, it's not even necessarily, they don't end up building it, just it makes it easier to sell.
A similar thing is, the Taqueria being built there.
You could get hit by a car and not finish it.
Property crossed, and now there's for sale sign on it.
Yeah.
Something happened to him and it not be finished, then you have 4 parcels to sell that
Anyway,
are
that's my 2 cents.
non-conforming.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Housing side, people wanna do stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
Well, like I said, the real question is giving a variance something that would improve the community?
and another thing you gotta look at also while you're doing this is what are the rest of the lots in the neighborhood look like? Look at the rest of the parcels. We only see these 3 parcels, but look, this one next to us at .11 of an acre. You know, I think most of the parcels in the whole.
well, you know, and see, that's another thing though, that's the information that you should have if you're going to discuss this. Because if, for example, you look, if you brought in a map of the rest of the neighborhood in that section, because that's a grid neighborhood right there. And so he says, you know, he has 4 lots he wants to do. He wants to change, make it a more uniform pattern with 40, 36.66, 36.67, 67. Now, if he came in and he showed all these other lots that were, you know, across the street or next to it and stuff like that, and they were all 35.83 and 36.66 and 40, and so it was showing that yes, we'll be changing the lot layout, but they'll be inconsistent with the law, but they'll be consistent with the rest of the neighborhood in the immediate vicinity.
Yep.
Then that would give you an out
On
and
the
future
variance.
precedents.
More
Because if
future
people came in
precedents.
a different neighborhood and said, well, you did this here, we'd say, yes,
So I think you
it's not conforming to the law, but it's conforming to the consistency of the
Right, so
neighborhood.
Right.
Yes.
That's my point. So I'd
So-
like to look at the rest of the
You might still
neighborhood.
not do it.
So the
But
zoning of
something.
that is R1. And in an R1, interior lots require a 50-foot wide lot. And the corner lot is required to be 60. So at the design that he's proposing, 50 foot, he's 13 point some feet shy of the legal width. 10 foot shy on one, and his corner lot on the one face fronting is, you know, almost half the size that it should be.
Or you could do 3 lots, be consistent with 2, and only short on the corner lot.
Just trying to pull it up.
Then it's only 1 lot that's not conforming.
And we don't know, like you say, we don't know what the
Right.
environment is, lot size surrounding it, and how it
I'd
would
like
fit
to look
in.
at the neighborhood. Let's see.
Well, it should be my neighbor.
Okay, Hewitt.
I used to live in that neighborhood, actually.
Is it?
2220 Wilcox. I
We
lived
don't-
right across
do
from
we-
Bill Sager.
Well, what does the area look like?
Hmm?
What does the area look like in terms of lot size?
Do we have an address or
They're
just an
kind of
AP?
scatterbomb. It's
Right here. Here's the lot right there that we're talking about in question.
Can you?
Do we have an address or just an AP?
Yeah, the one next door is real small. All these are all skinnier. You know what I'm saying? If you look at, it doesn't give me the distance.
This is just 1, 2, and 16.
But look at, that one.
So he's leaving this
Hewitt.
one the way it is.
look at that one. I mean, there's no consistency really in this neighborhood.
So here he's leaving this way,
These ones,
the way
this
it
house
is,
right
but
here,
yet
see this
he's
house
only
right here?
named 3 parcels here. These 3, not
This
this
house
one.
is on the lot line on each side. See how these two small skinny parcels? And this one really,
Wait, what road's it?
this is Park Avenue.
You can
And this is Myers.
just pick the
That's
different views.
Spencer.
Damon,
Yeah.
on this letter, he's only named 3 parcels. The 4th parcel differs on the map.
Right, well, parcel 15 is already existing.
Yes, but he's named 2 different measurements.
Oh.
Anything new in that neighborhood is gonna be quite the improvement, but, it's right there, it's that corner lot right there. Yeah.
Zoom in on it for
There's quite a few multifamily on
There's
that street.
a lot of houses have been converted into multi-family units. Matter of fact, I lived on the south end of that block.
A lot of large older homes, anyway.
Well, I think I can go for 3, but not for 4, because he's only proposing changing 3. Trying to get an extra lot.
But it
Well-
still wouldn't be conforming to, lot sizes.
No, but.
Well, if he did 3, 2 of them would conform and 1 wouldn't, as opposed
Right.
to 4 that didn't conform.
Right, but we still have to do a variance on that.
Yeah.
And and again, I think that if, I would have a little bit easier, I mean, I don't like the idea of variances either, but I'd have a little bit easier time of going along with something on the idea that it was an improvement. If you did 3 lots, there was 2 that were conforming, 1 wasn't conforming, was just shy, and then we could look at the rest of the neighborhood and say, and it was that 1 was consistent with what was in the rest of the neighborhood.
Could staff get us that information?
Well, the 40-foot would be consistent with the neighborhood. The one that exists. So the 40 and the 50-foot are, and the 45 and the 65-50, those would be probably consistent with the design in the day that these were divided.
So I would think that would be, if we could get, sizes of the lot maps in the immediate vicinity, that might be something that you could use as justification if you wanted to go along with it.
But it sounds like, tell the applicant if he's willing to go 3, we might consider it.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with,
Yeah, that kind of sounds like we're landing. If he went to 3 instead of 4, we might consider it.
Yeah, and
It's the best you could get out of
I
this.
think he's trying to do 3.
no,
The
he's trying.
existing lot at 15 isn't on the books. 15's
Oh, I
already
see
there.
this one right here.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
take
okay.
15 off. So you're already
So-
saying instead of 3, you to go down to 2.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay.
Out of 1, 2, and 16, make them 2 lots.
Yeah.
Now it's
Yeah,
a lot
I could go
merger.
for that.
So you'd have to do a lot merger and a lot line modification then. 'Cause you're going to eliminate a parcel.
Still wouldn't make it.
make a motion that he come back.
This one
Yeah,
would have
that
to be
was
60.
yeah.
They wouldn't be able to.
That one's existing. Oh, no.
Back
You're
with
talking
the
about that
motor.
one.
No, this is the
Man.
corner lot. This has to be 60.
Right, 6,000
These
square feet.
40 or
So 100 by 60 would be 6,000, and then you have the
Yeah.
5,000
Yeah.
minimum on those. Personally, I think it's so messed up right now. It's so non-conforming right now that it's such a better plan the way it is. I'm open for a variance when it's a substantial improvement. You're basically making the best of what you can out
But
of
we
it.
have to, if we do that, then we have to
But you gotta look-
verbalize this.
Actually, he could. If he made 2 lots, he could conform to it.
Yes.
One, the inside would be 50, and the outside would be 60.
If he did just 2 lots.
If he did just 2 lots.
Yeah.
Out of parcels 1, 2, and
If
16.
1, 2,
Out of
and
1, 2, and 16.
16 did
Yeah,
2
you'd have
lots.
110.
That's
Yeah,
what I
so
meant.
one would be 60, and one would be the outside one would be the corner one would be 60, and then the inside one would be
You'd have
50.
one at 40.
So he wouldn't even need the,
Yeah, you wouldn't need to touch that one.
There's another option too. If he made 2 legal lots out of it, and it's an R1, he can have a second dwelling unit if on an administrative permit.
Off the corner one, maybe off the
Yeah.
backside.
so there,
You have to meet the setbacks though.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd have to meet the setbacks.
It'd have to meet setbacks.
Well,
It means you have to figure that out.
Yeah, you'd have to build smaller houses.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, if he went to 2 lots, he might not need go through all that separate hassle. Yeah. But he'd be more certain of the outcome.
but that would allow him to put 2 on the 1 lot
Yeah.
and still get his 3 buildings.
So it sounds like you got an answer for him. Or a suggestion.
Yeah, a suggestion. So I can say, hey, we discussed it. If you're willing to go this direction, then we're willing to, you know, work with you on we can possibly make something work. But the 3 lots that are totally non-conforming the way that it is, because once you start putting, you know, your 5-foot setbacks on each side, okay, now you've got a 26 foot is the maximum width you can have of a house.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense, but they did have, during the wartime, 20-foot wide
yeah.
lots.
Yeah, but
Houses were shotgun.
but I'm in agreement with what you guys have indicated as well. 2 lots and an administrative permit, that's a simple process.
Yeah.
The administrative permit isn't a $3,000 permit process, you know. Because it's not a use, but he'd still have to do his lot line adjustment and pay for all that. So
Okay, so.
okay, well, good. I got information I can provide to him. Thank you. Any other comments on that one?
I don't think so. Moving on, regular business, discussing future meeting dates and or schedule. I just want to clear, so our next regular meeting would be the 23rd. I just want to make sure that that's the 4th Thursday of the month.
Yes. So as you can
Not
see,
the last Thursday. But sometimes those are the same, but
Right.
sometimes
Okay.
they're not. So
okay, 4th Thursday. So as you can see, we got staff here. We're getting educated. It's tough. It's been a tough role, and tonight was really a slap in the face to me. So,
Yeah, it wasn't.
but I'm gonna hang, you know, with whatever. I'll take the punches and go with the blows. But I'm an individual that's used to not making mistakes, and it's been difficult on this ride. But
You're doing fine.
I'm learning. But I'm not done yet, because I wanted to educate you guys or give you a little more information, because you are the planning commission. And if you go to the next one, flip over, you'll see the proposed kind of site plan for the future development there on Feather River and Oil Dam Boulevard.
Woohoo!
So he does have La Quinta agreeing to come in for the 4-story hotel. He's trying to get an anchor building in there. He's trying to get Target. He has been speaking with Target. Target's reluctant to come in, but when he's been given Target the numbers that Walmart's been producing, they got a higher interest, because they look at the city's populace, not the surrounding populace. And when you do that, it shows that people are willing to stay here. He's also wanting to try to get a Lowe's in there or something like that, if not a Target. So he's trying to get one of those as the main anchor building in there. I believe he's indicated another Dutch Bros possibly coming in there, which would ease up the line down there at the other one. He does have some others coming in, so he's very motivated and certainly has the financial behind him because he does this throughout California. So this is kind of a layout of that land of what's kind of being proposed there. So I wanted to bring that to your attention so you guys know what's coming in the future. It's coming.
You might talk to him about signage.
Yeah. He's familiar with the signage. So, signage. Carl.
Well, I think it looks like an amazing plan. I can only imagine with the new development going on with the old Walmart and having this new development there. I mean, in my opinion, that's our gateway into Oroville right there.
That is.
That's a new gateway, and this would speak louder than anything we could ever do.
Absolutely.
How far off do you think?
He wants permits by the end of the year.
So we'll be seeing something soon?
We'll be seeing something soon.
Good.
That's why I'm working with Caltrans, and I've been going to meetings there the first Wednesday of every month now on the Highway 70 improvement project, and been quite cooperative with them with permitting through the city and letting them know I'm here to assist them and get everything rolling and work with them. And we've also been, as you've seen on our lot line adjustments and our tentative map improvements going down that 162, as well as the Oroville Hospital, requiring them to dedicate 10 feet along that highway. And that right there has made Caltrans quite happy. We were all in a meeting last week, and they said, man, with you there, this has been great because we don't have to worry. You're getting us what we need for the future. Because they had to go to Burger King, and during that remodel, it should have been indicated at that time to dedicate 10-foot easement, but they never did. So Caltrans has been fighting on that to have to go get eminent domain, which is, what that ends up being, costing them a lot of money and everything to do their ADA upgrades on the sidewalk and that street light. So just trying to get them what they need and work with them, and that's why I sent out this email prior, and I've got the connections, and so he sent the head main planner for this Butte County area the email to me, copied me on it, and he fired back and says, how can I help you? So I fired this plan along with what's going on over there at the old Walmart. Let them know we've got you 10 foot here, and what do you want? What do you want here so we can get moving? Because they want to move, and we want to get you. And I also let them know we have $800,000 to put in your pocket to improve that intersection. So, they're seeing that we're here to work with them. That's the only delay that's going to be on this project is Caltrans and the permitting. So I think if we work together as a team, certainly we can get things moving a little faster than what they typically do.
They've been difficult to work with in the past. Thank you, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, before we adjourn, discussion items. Business licensing and business permit for 1341 Huntoon Street. We all received an email from Chelsea Thibault. I forwarded the email to you, Jackie.
Yeah, the applicant.
Can you give us some information on what's going on with that?
With the what?
The business
Oh.
licensing and building permit for 1341 Huntoon Street.
Well, the building permit, what they've done is they've gone in and did work without a permit. Okay? They've built walls, they've covered the walls, drywalled them, tape textured. They provided plans that were hand drawn, that weren't legitimate, that didn't pass plan review. So they got comment, they haven't resubmitted. I can't issue a permit with illegitimate plans. I can't give them occupancy without following the minimum requirements of the law and the code. They did stand up here and say that their husband was a contractor and they're aware of construction. But what they have submitted is not in compliance. And they had the attitude that they're just gonna do it anyways. So I didn't bring this up in the previous meeting when we went through the conditional use permit. But now that they've brought it up, I'll bring it to your attention. They did this prior to that. Okay? So they're not following the regulations and requirements of the city. City municipal code, the city laws, the state codes, or the state laws.
I think the use permit had an item in there that probably said it's all the building codes are applicable to, completing and submitting the plan.
Absolutely.
I believe that language was in there.
Absolutely.
On the conditional use permit. So they don't meet that. You could always the
Revoke
commission could
the-
always revoke the use permit too.
Revoke the conditional use permit.
Yep.
And
That's why
I guess it's called a strong arm force of trying to go to the higher hierarchy to get their way without compliance. But they're going to be removing drywall and they're going to be removing stuff because it's brought to their attention. And they papered up the windows, covered up the windows, and went in and did all their work. So I'm sorry that they sent you an email.
Well, I forwarded a copy of the email to Jackie, so, and actually now that I think about it, I probably had your email, I could have forwarded it to you. I'll just forward it to you now.
Mm-hmm.
But if just take a look at what the email said and read it over and then.
Well, the email says you're the bad guy.
Of course.
My phone's going dead.
So the email says that I'm the bad guy because
Can you forward that? to
I'm here to enforce the minimum requirements of the code and the law.
Which is what you should be doing.
Absolutely. I'm not the one that told them to go in and build these walls and do this construction and cover it up and not provide what they needed and provide the proper plans and everything else. That was their choice.
So I just wanted you guys to be aware of the email that was sent out. So Jackie, my phone's going dead. Jackie will forward you the copy of the thing.
It's been forwarded.
Okay.
Take a look at it.
Very
Or
good.
don't if you don't want to. I don't know.
Because I'll respond to it. It's very important that I do.
I think so.
And
yeah.
when I reply, I will also copy Tom and Chief Legrone.
Good.
Okay, because
And that, I'd like to see that too if you don't.
well, it'll respond to you guys.
Good. Perfect. That's what I was looking for.
And if worse comes to worse, the commission can take action to revoke the use permit and they don't have a project.
Well, what's happening is they got red tagged and in code enforcement.
Yeah.
And that was before they got the conditional use permit.
Yeah, we didn't give them a use permit, did we not?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
We gave them a use permit and it can be revoked.
I wasn't here for it. So.
If they don't meet the conditions of the use permit, it can always, that's why it's always a conditional use permit, so.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're going to respond to that. I just wanted to make sure that that was addressed, so thank you.
Well, I'm glad that you brought it up.
Okay, moving on to director's report. Do you have any additional items, Gary?
Yeah, I do. One thing is, we have 3 terms that had expired on 5/6 of 2014.
I turned my letter in requesting that, it be extended,
Okay.
I think to Jackie, who did I?
What was that?
Carl said he sent a letter in for his,
I hand delivered
term to
the
be
letter.
extended.
We do have one on file.
Okay. So I'm just bringing that to your
The
attention.
seats were Commissioner Durling's, Commissioner McDavid's, and who else?
And Wyatt Jenkins.
Were you asked for a letter of intent to remain?
No, Don just verbally asked us all during a meeting, and we said,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I'm unsure. This was May of this year. But I do know that Jackie had brought to my attention that there was a discussion about possibly extending everybody's term till the first of the year, or whatever, till a new council or whatever comes on. I'm unsure. We got it through a few programs.
Honestly, it's the current council. Is there a reason why the current council wouldn't be doing the reappointments? I mean, they should just if they should make a decision on whether they want to. Well, they should open it up for any new people. They should have.
Absolutely.
For new people.
So I was just bringing
And
it
then
to
they
your
should make a
attention.
decision.
Bring it to the attention if you wish, and you put in a letter of extension, or you want to continue on.
Well,
You might want to put in a letter of extension, because we're going to also have to advertise to the public of the availability for 3 positions.
I think both commissioners are interested because they're here.
And I'm glad you're here.
The appointment rules say that you're supposed to submit a letter. That's what the rules say.
And I think if
That's why I submitted a letter.
since they're appointed, I think it doesn't have to be posted that it's vacant if the council just automatically reappoints. If they're, I think it's only if they request that.
No,
I
the
think
last time I was
just reappointed.
just reappointed. They didn't
Yeah.
open it up.
No.
No,
I
they've done
will-
that. I mean, they're appointed at the will of the
Right.
council, so it's up to the council to
Decide how they want to do it.
If they decide they want to open it up as opposed to just reappoint, then
That's
they
correct.
need to do the notice and everything.
Yep.
So Commissioners McDavitt and Jenkins, are you turn in a letter of intent to?
No, because the way I understood it during that meeting is.
But I mean, will you?
Oh, I will, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that Don had talked to the city council or something, and it was like they were.
And I don't blame you because they've done that. Of course, 18 years ago everything was different. So. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what I just handed out here is another topic of discussion that was brought to me by the couple of businesses downtown to assist with the lack of parking. And because we have downtown residential as well upstairs, and a lot of the residences are taking up parking spaces. There's a question of enforcement, because there's a 2-hour maximum parking time. Do we go start giving tickets? How?
I'm gonna throw something out there about that.
Yeah.
Because we had this exact discussion. Well, how many years ago was that?
Many
and
times.
and the city got money for basically a meter maid. That's not the correct term, but for a parking enforcement that drove around and enforced the parking. And because all the downtown business owners were getting mad that there's residents parking in front of my business and my customers can't. And then what happened is we got the enforcement. They went down, they started giving tickets. And then the business owners got pissed because they were getting tickets. Because the reason they were really getting mad wasn't because residents were parking in front of their, customers for other businesses were parking in front of their businesses, and so customers couldn't park there. They were getting upset because they couldn't park there.
Yes.
And be able to walk 5 feet out of their businesses to get into their cars. And then when it got enforced and people weren't parking there, then they'd park there, and then they got a ticket, and then they got mad because they were getting tickets.
Yes. Very aware. And with the parking lot situation that's going on right now, it's been quite interesting. And I've had to go to battles with PG&E, and then I did for our businesses, for them to open up more of the parking lot, which they have. But this is a kind of a plan that would be able to provide more parking downtown, and it's just throwing out your thought process because we're the planners, you are the planning commission, is creating one-way traffic, one-way travel, instead of two-lane. And then you could provide diagonal parking instead of parallel parking along the curb race. So that would increase the parking just in those few blocks downtown to the merchants.
Well,
So-
how long is? I'm not really a huge fan of doing one-way streets.
Not either.
How long is PG&E supposed to have that parking lot alternative? Because the thing is there really isn't a shortage of parking space downtown. What there is a shortage of people who are willing to walk more than 30 feet.
Okay.
No, there was
Agreed.
a plan done specifically on the parking plan. We paid for a survey, and they said between all the city-owned parking lots, we have ample parking to support all the infrastructure we want down there already. It just, yeah, they actually wanted to remove parking. We're like, nah, that's probably not a good idea to remove it, but okay. So yeah, I mean,
Okay, so this is me just listening to a few business owners down there, and they asked if I would bring this up in consideration. And I said, of course, why not? So that I did. And I'm in the same opinion because I'm very much aware, because I'm in the code enforcement, so they come to me, and then when I go out there, I find out, oh, well, that's your car, you know. But it becomes interesting. The parking lot, to answer your question, though, for how long is the parking lot going to be under construction, it was going to be done in around November, December. But they're saying it's going to take longer now that they had to provide more of the parking lot open to the businesses. And you know what's happening there is a contractor's going to work PG&E and blame the city for it. So,
But it's temporary.
it is temporary.
I mean,
And they're going to revitalize that parking lot, and it's going to be very nice. They're going to put it in better than it exists at this point in time. They're also going to be adding 10 electric vehicle charging stations.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's temporary, that part, and to be honest with you, people were willing to walk a little bit of distance. There's still plenty of parking, but with that, when that opens back up, there's certainly not going to be any shortage of parking.
well, I mean, you have 3 downtown parking lots.
Public,
Yeah,
huge
but
public
but
parking lots.
The business owners won't park their cars
right. They
over
don't.
there. That's the problem.
Well,
If they did, then they would have all the room that they need on the street for customers to park their cars.
I believe that to
And I
be
got a
true
problem
also.
with that.
I believe that to be true also.
Do they need to provide 10 electric parking spots? That's taking away,
I know that's a lot of electric.
4 spots down there.
yeah, I've been in parking lots in the city, and they would maybe have 2 on this end of the parking lot and 2 over here.
Uh-huh. Well, you know, they're building for the future.
Yeah, and there might be more
So
electric cars.
keep in mind,
There will be.
There's 10 spots
But-
that
Yeah.
But
people.
right, but there's also a plethora of parking there. So it's not like losing
It's
10
never.
spots.
It's
is-
never all full. It's never been.
We have the spots to spare.
and in 10 years' time,
Yeah.
there may be, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of electric vehicles that will go there and charge.
There will be.
And then
The Jetsons are coming.
Just make sure.
besides that,
Just
you
make sure they're in the very
have
back.
on the east end of Municipal, there's a ton of parking up
Yeah.
there.
Oh, no, there's.
We have lots of.
That's all staff has.
So if there were
Thank you, Gary.
if there were one-way streets, real quick, would that be 1-car lane streets too? Then they're double lanes now.
Well, there would be 1-car lanes because they'd allow for diagonal parking. However, they'd have to be your minimum width as well for emergency service vehicles.
Right. So they're talking about, instead of double lanes, making them one lane only and diagonal parking
On both sides.
on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ever drive through Chico, downtown Chico?
Yeah, it's not necessary.
Well, at this time, and I indicated it to him, but you know, I listen to our businesses because it's very important that we do, and that we take in consideration what they say.
Yeah.
And so that's why I brought it to the table. But I see every day someone going down Lincoln or Huntoon the wrong way.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna comment too, cause they've already been established as two-way streets. You're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna be confused at the new configuration.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, cause I'm the same way, almost daily basis, I see somebody going the wrong way on
Yeah.
the one-ways.
Every day.
Okay. Commission reports. Were there any commissioners that had any reports from committees or anything else they need to report on?
Do we still have the DRC organized?
That I think that might have fallen to the wayside when all the staff kind of changed around and everything.
We do have the DRC organized. We just haven't had anything to bring.
Well, this item that you just discussed here earlier, where the guy's requesting about the lot lines and all the rest of it, shouldn't that have gone to the DRC first?
Well, not necessarily, because it's just a topic of discussion, because it would be a review and approval of the whole commission. And so then you would have one or two people, you know, making comment to the whole commission, and this was just for a topic of discussion.
We actually had a DRC meeting, I think, last month. It was either right before or...
Yeah, right before this.
Yeah.
One thing about the DRC is they have given staff more autonomy to make decisions on the signage. Most of the DRC was signage, you know, so not all signage needs to come.
They, you mean city council?
Or Tom,
okay,
the city administrator.
Okay,
Or administration.
This is September 27th. It's August, right?
Yes, because we're gonna go with the September 27th because of the marijuana.
Oh.
Okay, and that's something you guys might want to think about with the marijuana. There are some things, and there is questions. Can the council override us? Yes. However, the council wants to hear what we have to say, or what the commission has to say. And one thing that I can indicate is we know that everything is required, and we put this in on purpose, is no matter what, has to go through a conditional use permit, which means it's got to be brought forward to the planning commission. And the one individual asked about greenhouse, so I gave him his answer. Not sure if he really caught it, because, you know, when I mentioned the high-rise glass buildings, which means you can let your plants grow as high as you want, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to afford the building that needs to be constructed, because one is it's not going to be able to be visible, can't be visible. So you can't have a greenhouse because you'll be able to see through the walls. Secondly is you've got to control the odors. You're not going to be able to control the odors in a greenhouse. So they're thinking one thing, picturing one thing when it's not and it isn't reality. I'm familiar because I'm a consultant on the side, and I had done the final inspection, and the inspections on the one in the city of Shasta Lake. Okay, so they're quite a you can't even tell what it is. You don't even know what's happening inside because it's so enclosed, and you won't be able to smell because of the mechanical systems. I answered his question on building codes, but not on electrical, mechanical, and plumbing and everything else that comes in. So those are things that the planning commission, you need to take in consideration when we look at that and review that. If you'd like for me to add some things in there, I'd be more than happy to. We can have discussion on that at our next meeting if you're ready to have discussion on that.
Sure.
The
Yeah.
way that joint meeting went, it wasn't the way that I expected a meeting to go.
No.
We weren't able to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So-
I was, and I don't even know who I've given Jackie an earful of,
Yeah.
but
We weren't expected to do anything, but just say,
I was very displeased by the way that meeting went. I was very taken off guard. It was very
Stuck my
odd.
foot in it. I was not gonna let him get away without
Well, the
me
way-
saying something.
The way I read the agenda, though, it was going to be adjourned. So she still ran
Right.
our planning commission meeting, even though I think they were supposed to adjourn, then open the planning commission session. And
Yeah.
I didn't see.
And what I had told, I mean, it's exactly what you were saying, which was that they were supposed to recess.
Yeah. Recess.
Then we open our meeting.
Right.
and conduct a normal meeting.
I run the meeting,
Conduct a
Right.
normal meeting.
conduct a normal meeting, and then have our discussion, make a decision, and then close, and then they do their thing. And instead, the whole thing kind of blended together,
Yeah.
and they just kind of ambled through, and then did the discussion of 3 items, and then went back to the first item, and then kind of said, "Oh, Chairman of the Planning Commission." So, and I really wanted my response that I really wanted to give was, "Oh, am I actually allowed to run my meeting now? You know, are we actually going to have our meeting?" You know, it was, and and I know the people on the city council, and I get along with all of them and everything, but that was just so odd. I'm not sure what the heck was going on.
So
And I don't know that anybody else knew what the heck
It
was
was
going
really obvious that somebody didn't think it through.
on. Right,
procedurally
exactly.
At all.
So how about if we make a plan? We're going to have our meeting in 2 weeks here in August. That everybody take the time to review the ordinance and kind of make comment, and we plan on having some discussion. That's why the planning commission was kind of put to September 27th, because there's also council members that want some time to review it too, but that gives the planning commission time to review it and make comment on it.
So we could have some discussion at our next meeting, and then make the actual decision on the 27th or whatever.
Absolutely, or have prepared for our comments as to what the planning commission would like to see in the ordinance and municipal code. At that time, and
Did
more
we
prepared.
get a complete packet? Because I saw there was a map on there. Yeah, so I don't know if we can get a complete packet, because there was a map showing where setbacks were with the red and the green and the zoning and possible locations. And I don't remember seeing that in the
Yes.
So
packet.
the one I handed out?
No.
No.
Your map. No, there was a map that when they were having discussions about the setbacks.
Yes,
Oh.
so we'll get that to you.
Okay.
Staff will get everything that we have to you so you can review, so we can have an adequate discussion. You have ample time to review it. We can go over things and
Good.
help explain. But at the end of the day, remember, at the end of the day, it's a conditional use permit.
Yeah.
And that goes through us.
Which I think that's important to remember also. So the one thing I want to throw out there is I would make a suggestion to staff. Well, it's really a suggestion to city council and the city administrator, that if they ever want, if they have an item that they think it's important, that they have a joint city council planning commission meeting, and that maybe they ought to have a discussion with the chairman of the planning commission about setting it up and how it's going to run. And because honestly, if I had been told that information on an item that important, that the information was going out Friday and that Tuesday we're gonna have a joint meeting and they wanted us to make a decision, I could have told them, my planning commission's not gonna make that decision. These people are too thorough. They're gonna want more time on this. I could have told them that. I could have saved them all the trouble. But they never had a discussion, and I didn't like going into the thing not knowing, and I've had it happen before, which is why I kind of wasn't too surprised that it. Well, I was, but I wasn't. Not going into it or going into it without having had a discussion about how it was gonna run. And, okay, well, at this point, we're gonna hand things, and it just kind of ambled into this thing, and then on top of it, and then third, you're gonna have a joint meeting with the city council, and the reason they have a joint meeting with the city council and planning commission is for the city council and the planning commission to talk to one another.
Yeah.
To have a discussion with each other back and forth.
That didn't
And that was not present. It was just this thing where the city council ran this thing, and then we kind of ambled into these items, and then kind of turned and went like, okay.
I wondered why we were there.
And so I would suggest that if we're going to do something like that again, that there be a lot more communication.
Well, actually, procedurally, we flexed our muscle, I think, by doing exactly what we did, because the charter says we need to make one way or the other. We could say no or yay, and they can overturn it, but we have to make a decision on the zoning code. We have policy on
Well,
that.
that's what we're here for. That's why you use the planning commission.
They're kind of dead in the water, even on this, until
Well,
we.
We continued it. That's why they were not able to act on it.
Correct.
Right.
So.
Well, they could have, but
No.
not the way that it was. I mean, they still have the notice thing and everything, because in the end, they can still override whatever decision we make.
But we didn't make a decision.
But the thing is, I don't want there to be a mistake out there that's why we continued. We continued it because we needed to have more time and information
yeah,
on it.
Exactly.
And so we continued it for right reason, not to like stick a finger in the city council's eye.
Obviously not. No. That was not the.
But I think maybe it kind of seemed that way just because they went into this with there was no communication, no preparedness. And
Well, there's a few things that, may be able to be changed, that those are recommendations that we make, or that the commission makes to be changed in the ordinance. Say the distance from schools, the distance from churches, and those things that are of concerns. The viewing in some of the things that they're thinking is the public, and that some people think like the greenhouse, it's not going to happen. They're not going to be greenhouses. Those are things that is not going to happen, because
well, that's why the public
it can't meet the ordinance on that.
That's where the planning commission comes in
well, and
on
that's
a use
why,
permit.
yeah, that's why. But it's also that's why it's so important to have the extra level of the planning commission, because the zoning and things with planning get so detailed. That's why the city council has a planning commission.
Correct.
So it's not dominating all their time, and you have another set of eyes on these important things. You have 14 people instead of 7 looking at it. And the public hearings are important because we have discussions like that and clarify the misconceptions that the public will inevitably have.
Yeah.
For those who are willing to listen. Some people just aren't willing to listen and not to be able to do anything about them. But it is. But I just think before going into that thing that if any of the staff who are present right now are present when something like joint meetings being discussed again, that's something that would be important to be brought up, is that that the mayor or whoever's going to run the meeting and the city administrator ought to maybe include the chairperson, so that the chairperson can then talk, knows what's going on and how it's going to be run, and that when we have the actual meeting, that there's actually, that's run properly, that's handed over to the planning commission to do their thing, and then there's discussion between commission and council, and the communication's open. I guess it was just weird. It was just really weird. It was not. I think it was weird for everybody, because then the city council kind of ended up being surprised by what happened too, and I was like, well, that's what happens when you kind of go in unprepared for stuff.
Yeah, and I think if we were better prepared, they could have had a different outcome.
Well, and if had been more or any communication. I mean, that's the problem, and all the time that I've been on here, I've always tried to encourage city council members who got on, and only very few have actually taken me up on it, but I've always encourage city council members to at least attend. It's not really practical for them to attend all the meetings, but for some of them to attend some of the meetings, so that they know themselves what's going on with the planning commission. Because quite often, that's one of the reasons on important items I've gone to city council meetings, because I don't usually speak on appeals if we're appealed, because I feel like I've already had my say, but sometimes I'll go just to make sure that we're represented properly, because I know for a fact I've been there when people on one side or the other, sometimes it's an applicant didn't get what they wanted, but sometimes even staff have done it, where they've not represented what the planning commission actually said.
Right.
And if city council's not attending, if they don't know their planning commissioners, if they haven't attended any of the meetings, you know, they don't know. They have no way of knowing unless a commissioner happens to be there to stand up and say, that's not what was actually said. And I've always encouraged them, and only some of them over the years have taken it up on coming to the meetings, but so there's always been that lack of communication, but that was like on full display. That lack of communication, that gap between the city council and the planning commission was on full display during that joint meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hope that, I keep hoping, 18 years, I keep hoping that's going to change at least a little bit. Sometimes it changes a little bit, but
Not me.
Tom.
The mayor wasn't there, so.
Well, no, Tom,
Yeah.
our city administrator, and actually, every city administrator we've gone through, and we've gone through a lot of them, I think they've always met the commission at one point, you know, introduced
Yeah.
themselves to the commission, acting as city administrator even. And I've been a little surprised that we hadn't been reached out.
Yeah, that was actually surprising to me too. There's only one other interim city administrator who did not come and at least meet the planning commission. And he was
it Randy Murphy? No.
Yeah.
I think it was Randy Murphy.
It was Randy Murphy, and he was here for not very long.
Yeah,
He wasn't city administrator very long.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, this time we got adjourned. So we will adjourn to Thursday, August 23rd at 7 p.m.
All right. I didn't vote on anything anyway, but you know.
for the next one?
Are you sure? Because you know.
I missed
Hey,
the one
why-
that didn't really even count.
If you're not gonna be here, you really should let the chair know.
Yeah.
I let
You
you
know.
know.
I'm not the chair. I'm not even vice chair.
You should have been in the 7-Eleven parking lot.
I'm a nobody.
Clearly my oversight.
Well, it is right around the corner from your house. So
That's
you
true.
technically
What
should.
was I thinking?
Then we would have been in Brown Act because there's three of us.
And that was a
Well,
problem.
only if we talk about an item. Your attendance wouldn't have fallen into that purview. So.
Sign your life away.
Oh,
It's not meant.
Yay!
I'll write it down.
916
Jack.
955 9638. 95, that's you.
I know.
Did you put up the new spots for the? Oh, someone left gum. Whose normal seat is this? Piece of gum.
Well, whose seat is that normally?
They're taking her gum.
Who's actually in charge now? They have a city administrator there?
Tom Landon.
Oh, Scott wouldn't care anyway, so.
What's that? Oh.
No, I thought